They're not listening.
Started 5, 10, 20 years ago, I wouldn't have been involved in politics. But this country is really in a great situation right now. And I believe that our school system is very important. It's the reason I'm the Union County Choestoe chairman. And I wanted to have the school board and the candidates come out and talk to y'all because I believe the education system is the foundation of this country. We really need good people in good places, and we need this for our county and our state and our federal government, of course. So, without further ado, I want to bring up John Hill, because he's current superintendent, he's a great guy, and he can give us an overview of his position and what he's doing, what they're doing, and how come they want the East Block. And we'll talk a little bit about CRT, because it's on people's mind, and we'll talk about gender assignments and grooming and all this nonsense that the radical left socialists want. But that's why we're here. And as soon as they're done introducing themselves and talking a little bit, we'll give you guys an opportunity to ask questions you might have, and they'll try to provide the best answers that you can. And remember, some of these people are running for school board, so they might not have all the facts, but they're going to do their best to answer any questions that they can for you. Okay, without further ado, John, will you come on up?
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us. Yes, sir. My name is John Hill. I've known most of you, a lot of you, since I was a little kid. And some of you folks I hadn't had the pleasure of meeting, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. We've got one of our principals here, Mr. Carol Knight, so we've got several school employees, several teachers here, so if there's a question I can't answer, they may be better versed to do so. Concerning East Floss, of course, that is a 1 cent continuation of a 1 cent sales tax that's been in existence since 1998. That has been used to construct our high school, all our high school campus facilities, our middle school, football field renovation, many of our athletic facility renovations. We utilize that for technology and security upgrades, fences, cameras, those types of things. You can do a HVAC renovation. We've done several of those across the campus, our Agri-Science Center and our Fine Arts Center. So it would be a continuation of that 1 cent sales tax for the voters to decide. It's really not my place to tell anybody how to vote. All I'm here to do is provide you with some information. The major project on this East Floss is a new elementary school, and it would be grades 2 through 5. Okay, we do have an increase in enrollment, and we do have an aging elementary school. It was the 3rd grade building was where my mother graduated from. It was occupied in 1969, and it was actually a high school. It's the old white building by the football field. That building was constructed in, I guess, 67, 68. It was occupied in 69. And then the 4th and 5th grade building was originally constructed in 90 and 91, I believe. I know for a fact it was opened in 92 because I was there. I wasn't there for the opening of the high school. But that building is fairly old. We have any of our employees that work in the elementary school bring. So it has some challenges, doesn't it?
Yes.
Having 2 buildings apart from each other, you have a road that children have to walk across. And what is that like as a teacher, Green?
You don't feel very safe at times because it is, so separated.
And that building also has, the 3rd grade building, the HVAC system really needs to be replaced or upgraded, and so does the roof. The space consideration is also something we need to factor into this. That is the major project on this referendum, okay? And we need to do something about our infrastructure problem, okay? Union County, I think people have not anticipated the growth. I mean, from when we were in high school, Jamie, it was not anything like it is now with the number of cars, the number of traffic. We need somebody, and I've got one of the community members back here that we've got people who are so lucky. Mr. Henson, he spent some time with us looking at maps and just trying to think outside the box alongside law enforcement. How can we address this road situation to help improve traffic flow? That's a major factor in this situation. You guys had your driveway paved recently. It's extremely expensive. Any kind of changes to road structure is going to cost a lot of money, and so that would be part of this project, as well as equipping the school with technology, furniture, playground equipment is critical for those age children. So those are the bulk of the projects, as well as some athletic facility upgrades. For instance, we got Mr. Kilpatrick here. His son's a big wrestler. They need a better space for wrestling. Track does not have a place to compete. Okay, so we need to address some of those things. But again, the primary focus is your things that you have to have. We have to have buses. I've heard people say, well, you guys don't service your buses. You just throw them away when they break. We work on buses every single day. If anybody here understands diesels, which I know a lot of guys do, the DEF fluid, those things tear up all the time. We're always working on them. And we try to make the most of those buses. But our fleet, between athletics, field trips, and routes, gets about 500,000 miles a year. So those things do have a limited lifespan, and they are about $120,000 a bus, okay? Cameras, all those things that are included now on buses, that really is helpful with discipline with children. All the different issues that we face. Carol knows more about that than I do, because when I was a principal, we didn't have those handy dandy cameras, but you utilize those on a regular basis, don't you, Carol?
Yes.
The cameras in the school buildings are monitored at all times. Safety is going to always be a forefront. It should be a forefront. When you send your son to school, sir, we don't need to have to explain why something bad happened, okay? That needs to be somewhere we invest our money. That's very important to us. It's important to our current school board. I'm certain it's important to every person running for the office, is the student safety. So those are things that would be utilized, that East Plus would be utilized for. That's a lot of money, and we need to spend it wisely, but we need to take care of our children. And so, what's the next thing you want me to cover, sir?
Well, if you wouldn't mind just touching on what the school's position is on CRT and this, gender grooming.
Well, you guys may know the state board banned the critical race theory at the state level. What we realize and what we know, it's not a quick fix. We have to really analyze any type of purchase curriculum, because the curriculum providers, and it's at home too, you gotta watch this stuff at home. If you have children, if you have grandchildren, even like YouTube for Kids. You can get on YouTube for Kids and you'll have something pop up at the end of the video. That's a problem. And we gotta really look at that critically from the classroom level. We do not have staff members, guys, in our district that do this type of thing. We have to watch the electronic curriculum more closely, though. Anything imported into the school, we have to be very critical, and we have to look at that stuff, every little detail that's shown, because that is a problem. That is a problem. That's a problem at home too, though, guys. We can't control what happens outside of school, so everybody needs to be aware of that. Our staff are, honestly, we got a bunch of them here, just great, conservative, good Christian people. And we're very blessed to have that in our schools. Guys that are teaching, when you have a concerned parent, they just come to see you, don't they? They come to see you, they come to see the principal. big city. We don't wanna be big city. We wanna be small town. We wanna care about the children. We wanna be accessible. So that's our stance on that, sir. But again, it's the external things that we really have to monitor, because that is a problem. That's a problem for everybody, whether the children are at home or at school, either one. And we gotta be aware of that stuff, and we gotta be aware as parents that, you know, we wanna be able to interact with each other.
Absolutely. I appreciate everything you do and the transparency you provide and your willingness to show up here and talk to everybody. Is there anybody here that has any questions for John before we get the candidates up here? Well, let's take you two in the back first.
Hello, Mr. Hill. My name is Patrice Kilpatrick. At first, I would want to just applaud all the fellas that are stepping up to the plate, because I believe, like you said, our country is somewhat in turmoil right now, and we appreciate people stepping up. With regards to the CRT, we did recognize under the virtual platform that there is some curriculum that is being sent home with our children. And we're not ones to run up the food chain. However, my husband realized that, you know, he reviewed the curriculum and he sent an email to the teacher and she didn't respond. So at that point, you know, he felt the need to go through the process. And the letter that we received back from the school board, or from the principal rather, was that the curriculum was recognized, that it did contain it, and that our son would be exempt from it. So, I don't
That's
know.
what we mean by a lengthy, slow process, because we have committees that review things, because we don't wanna make a quick decision. But that has since been pulled, it was a brain pop, it's a purchased video. What's it called, David, what is it called?
It's just brain pop.
And we have gone through the whole process, and that has been nixed, because I think, Kevin, you and I both would agree, content of the video is quality, but it's that pop-up stuff at the end that'll get you. That's what, my take on it was personally.
Not completely. There's subtle stuff in there that I observed. I didn't go through all the material because I don't have the time to.
Right, and we had to go through all
Right, and but so I immediately started doing some research on it, and to be short, it's everywhere. That thing's riddled with it. You know, it's got all kinds of, you know, ideology, all types of stuff that's in there that probably most of us in here don't, you know, go with or confirm with. So, and it's being. The way the stuff that I watched, it's just being slowly dripped in there. Sometimes it's more obvious than others.
Subtle.
But there are subtle little things in there. And, you know, the more I started digging on that, and I've got tons of, you know, research that I've done, I'd be more than happy to share with anybody. They give me their email. I can give them links and just speed up the process. But I've got droves of stuff in there where other parents, not just here, but nationwide, are pushing hard back on this stuff.
And we have pulled that totally out of the rotation. That was a program that the schools had for years and years, and you gotta watch these, when I say canned curriculum, most of them are manufactured in Texas or California, right, David, is that correct? And so you do have to watch, because that's a major concern. It is a major, so yes, ma'am.
So I think that a lot of that is more the virtual stuff, because I know that you guys had allowed me to go into the libraries at the school, and I really didn't notice anything except when I went on the computer for the ebooks. There's a lot of LGBTQ plus ABCDFG, whatever it's all about. Yeah, there's so much of that on there. I mean, I was shocked. There were a couple books on there that I had on my list that were inappropriate, and they had actually been called out on national news. And so I think that part of it, like whatever the
electronic stuff is real concern.
yeah, that's, and I talked to, is it Melissa in the high school? Yeah, when I went in there, and she didn't seem to know a whole lot about, she said a lot of the kids don't use that, but it is
What
in
they
there.
do too, and you know, I appreciate Cindy's been great to us, talked to us a lot. What we realized, things that we didn't even know, was when you buy something, it's kinda like you buy for me, it'd be like that bag of chips, it's got all the variety pack and they give you a discount. So you buy it, you try to save taxpayer money, and our media specialists try to buy what's economical, cause they don't wanna waste money. So they'll sell them things at a big discount, and the amount of time it takes them to go through and look at every single little resource it's pretty overwhelming, especially in the sense that they went from, teaching face-to-face to virtual in a matter of 48 hours, 72 hours. And so the good news is we've got some legislation now to back us up that'll be signed into law probably less today. I think it was supposed to be signed into law today about divisive concepts and some of the media books that we need to be mindful of, cognizant of. But it's a slow process. When we say curriculum, that sounds like it's my notebook over there, but like in our primary school, where's my primary school folks? We've got 6 tractor trailers full of curriculum outside in school buildings still full of curriculum. When we talk about published curriculum, it's not like, oh, we just gotta push the button on the computer and it goes up into the cloud. That's a tremendous amount of work for you ladies, isn't it? To try to get everything that you do published. That is, it's a tremendous amount of labor to get that done. So we are going to have to go through critically every single little thing that's taught. And the number one concern is our electronic programs, any program that we use.
Are the online books available for the children before you've gone through them?
Media specialists,
They do try to go through as much as they can, but like you said, I mean, my wife's a media specialist, and she actually reads at home every night. From the time she gets home, cooks supper, and then reads before she goes to bed, so.
Is it possible to remove it from the children being able to see it?
oh,
until
yes
it's-
ma'am, yes ma'am.
Cause I know with my son, all it takes is one bizarre image to really warp his little
I
mind.
agree with that 100%. Paula, you had a comment?
Yes, I do. I'm a student services director, and media specialist actually fall into my area. And I will tell you that, yes, we get the advertisement for, buy 100 titles for, $99 or, whatever it is. And in an effort to save money, some of these, the 99 titles, it takes a little while to, to actually read some of those titles. But even before, Mr. Hill was talking about the law that comes down, from wherever, federal, state, county, wherever it is. We in Union County already have a way to take care of families who feel like that A book, B book, C book, that should not be in our library. So what I'd like to know is, Ms. Vanderreed, when you saw that book, did you call that book out by name or fill out the complaint form that, because I don't even know what book you're talking about.
No, it wasn't really, it wasn't an actual book, it was when I went online to the ebook.
Like a
Even
I got them
there,
written
even
down.
there,
Yeah,
if a parent, even many years ago in the dark ages, if my parents wanted to know what I was being taught at school, they could go to school and ask about this book or that book. And that's not any different now. It's just like what you said. Our parents are welcome in our schools. If somebody has a problem with whatever book or lesson or whatever, our teachers give out their cell phone numbers. Every one of them. We're all called. It's a small community. I would say that if something happened in our school, that the people that have John Hill's telephone number or David or myself or any of the principals, we're going to probably know it before your kid gets off the bus. It's just that kind of community. We already have something in place. We don't need the state government or the federal government to tell us what kind of protocols, because they're already there. They're on our protocol for media specialists. Number one, you bring it to their attention. You bring it to the teacher's attention. And if that does not satisfy the person, they go to the principal. And if that is not satisfied, it can't be resolved. Folks, Judy Blume book is on the list that you're talking about. Yeah, there's some really terrible books out there, you know, girl on girl, whatever. But Judy Blume, that talks about a young girl starting a period, and that's on the banned list. But you don't want your third grader reading it, but middle school, you know, we got single parent homes. Somebody's got to tell them about it, you know. So these things are in place. We protect our kids. We see them every day. And just the example of Carol's school, where the person, and I don't know, they may even be in here, I have no idea, but had a problem with something that was being taught. Instead of going to the teacher, they go into the principal, and then going to John or David and the Board of Education, they just bypassed all that and went to a senator, state senator, or representative, or whatever. Where's our common sense? You know, I have a problem with what you're teaching. You know? And I know the video that you're talking about. Along with there is an ad at the end that says Black Lives Matter. It also, it talks about that there's been many concepts that have been overcome in the past 100 years. And one of those were women's rights. Okay, I like that women's rights there being advertised. What did have to be overcome. You know, I agree. LGBT doesn't need to be on there, but you know, oftentimes we overreact. We throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I just think slow down and have some common sense. And by the way, I'm retiring, so I can say what I want to say. I need to go home a little early. I got a lot to
We appreciate very much what you just said, and as concerned citizens, we all need to not only vet the people that we're putting into these positions, but we also need to pay attention to what's going on. I'm a concerned grandparent here. I've got a kindergartner that's in the school system now, another one will be there in a couple of years, and we just have to really keep an eye, because the federal government is pushing so much with the Department of Education that only came down in 1979, and you can look at it today, folks. I'm telling you, the school systems have not gotten dramatically better since 1979, since we let the federal government take over the Department of Education. You can look at the stats globally. We're worse in math, we're worse in science, we're worse in English. How the hell could we be worse in English? But we are. So let's just all be diligent and try to help these good folks the best we can. And like she said, if you see something, address it and try to get a resolution to it. John, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Coming on.
Appreciate it.
And I'm not going to go in any particular order, but I'll have Will Nelson come up here and introduce himself. He's a candidate, he's running, and he'll give his vision for how he thinks the school's going to be. We'll answer a few questions, any concerns you have about his candidacy. And then at the end, if there's still some more questions, we'll be happy to get anybody up here to answer them if we can, okay? Go ahead, Bill.
All right.
Thank you very much for coming.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. A lot of you know, some know. Will Nelson, I'm a Nelson Tractor in town. We're married to Catherine Nelson, and she is y'all may have been seeing the advertisements for the Isaiah 117 house. I'll take just seconds like that. She's the program administrator, program coordinator for that. She's also a piano teacher tonight. Tomorrow, she's no longer a piano teacher. She is the program coordinator for Isaiah 117. So she is at her final, and I feel terrible, but she's at her final piano recital on her students, and it was hard, but I came here instead. I've made all the other piano recitals, and she'll forgive me for this one. But a little bit about me, a little history. 8th generation, been here quite a long time. Been a lot of places in the world. I'm not found anywhere yet. I'd rather live than right here. I love mountains, streams, and people for the most part. Nelson Tractor is 1949, my grandfather started, and I'm third generation owner there. I've been involved in several different things. I graduated high school in the white building John was talking about. It's pretty much the same age that I am. And as far as my professional career, I went to college in Nashville, Tennessee at David Lipscomb University, which is a Christian small private school. And mom and dad said, where do you want to go to school? And I said, well, maybe from Georgia, maybe Alabama. And they said, okay, you're going to go to Lipscomb. All right, I guess I'm gonna go live through it. They were paying, couldn't argue. But, stayed in Nashville 4 years, met Catherine there, she's from Talladega, Alabama, and it's one of those things that my dad's very well known, and she worked at the bank for the first few years when we got married and moved back here. I was known as Catherine's husband or WC's son. I didn't have an identity of my own. Now that's kind of changed a little bit. Hair's turned gray. People know me a bit more than they know her now. But the last several years, we've been going through some expansion with Nelson Tractor. We've opened up in Jasper, Georgia. Currently building a building right now in Dalton, Georgia, to expand there. I've got a few other ideas after that, and that's up and going. We may go a little further. Not real sure yet. Like I said, graduated high school here. I've done a lot of stuff. John and a bunch of them call me the incubator program. If you're not familiar with it at school, it's an absolutely incredible program. Been involved with CTAE, College Career Academy, a few different things there. Coached baseball for 18 seasons, I think, with my sons, and I miss that terribly. I go to the park now and run, and there's kids out there this tall playing baseball, and it breaks my heart that I'm not still there doing it, but I really did enjoy that. I have been on the Southern Equipment Dealers Association, which is a board, about 12 dealers that covers Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, and we represent all of the dealers in manufacturer relations, also in governmental relations. Been several different things there, but was chairman of that board for 2 years. Have to remember the same year Nomi was born, because we went, Catherine was pregnant. It was all those pictures of her with big belly, but we were, did that, was blessed to do that. Been on the National Dealer Advisory Board for Kubota once. I've been on the Regional Advisory Council with Kubota twice. And currently I'm on the United Community Banks Advisory Board here in town. And I'm also on the TVA Regional Resource Stewardship Council as a representative for the state of Georgia. That's been a very interesting and fun thing, learning about the TVA lakes. An interesting fact is every dam in the whole TVA system is controlled in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They can control each one manually. That's a little fun fact, but they control everything right in Chattanooga, Tennessee for the whole Tennessee. Pretty cool. But got to see a lot of things there. What do you want to know? What did I miss? Got three kids.
One thing I'd like to ask is what possessed you decide to run for school board? And if East Block has, how do you envision spending that money?
Okay, hit my kids right quick. Got one child that's in graduate school, did a master's in divinity in Abilene Christian out in Abilene, Texas. Second child, don't get mad at me, but he's at Clemson. And he's finishing up his junior year. He's actually coming home tomorrow. And then, of course, Nomi, my daughter, is in the 7th grade, 13 years old. And oh, what an experience that is. Boys are bad enough, girls are a little different story. But it's been a ball. I'm enjoying that. My big real reason for running is she's there, and if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And I've always wanted to continue to give and give. I've given my time, I've given financially, I've done equipment, I've done a lot of stuff, and at this point in time, I'm ready to step up to the next level. I've done a lot of different things in this world. We've got a business, we've got 70 employees, we've built buildings, we're in retail, I deal with the public a lot. Honestly, I just really want to do it. I really want to get involved, and I want to be part of the school board. My grandmother taught school for 33 years. She taught me K through 12. She taught me one-room schoolhouse at one point in time. First paddling I ever got to school was from my own grandmother in 3rd grade. I've just been around school forever. I love my community, and I love my school. I want to be a part of it. What's the second question?
The East Block money, if it passes, how do you envision spending it?
Well, for us candidates, that'll be determined before we get there.
That's correct.
For the most part. Okay? Now, I'll tell you this. I don't know everything, and there's some learning I've got to do, and I'm going to lean on some other people. But with East Block, there's certain things you can, certain things you can't. Okay? I'm going to learn all that. I know a good bit of it, but I don't know everything. The experts standing right back there against the wall. But I do know business. And I feel like that can be a big benefit question, y'all got anything else?
We had a very good, conversation when I asked him to come, and I appreciate him coming. Does anybody have any questions for Will they'd like to ask? Okay.
Oh, to share that y'all made something good. And look, y'all can call me at work, I don't care, whatever time, day that time.
That was pretty easily accessible, I agree with that. Thank you very much for coming. And, Jason, you come on up next.
How y'all doing today? Jason Carter. I am, District 4 candidate for school board. I thought we'd be up here on the panel, but we're being walked out one by one.
Well, I'm trying to make sure we don't turn this into a debate, because sometimes it'll turn into a debate and it's not the forum we set up.
I guess. So I am a native of Blairsville. I attended Union County School System K through 12. I went to Young Harris College after that, and then I attended Emory University. I have an accounting and finance background. I worked for public companies my entire career. I worked for IBM at first, and then I've worked for United Community Bank for over 20 years. I'm a regional credit manager. I look at commercial credits, look at commercial can be for-profit or not-for-profit. Our company is supposed to make a profit, but don't. That's a problem. But we look at financial information all the time, and then we make a decision. Can you pay the loan back, and then we extend the money or not? And then if we have a workout situation, we work through those as well. So that's the background of what I do. I have 2 girls, so Will has 1 girl. I have, and they're both teenagers. So 13 and soon to be 15. We're actually gonna start driving in 2 weeks, so I might make it to Coosa, I don't know. I'm making plans, I think we will. But, you know, so, you know, my daughters have attended school, my wife is a 2nd grade school teacher. We're invested in the system. And the school has done a lot for me, it's done a lot for my kids, albeit my kids have about 5-6 years left, and then they're gone. But, you know, like Will, you know, I feel like it's time to bring something back to the table, life experience, ability that you have professionally or personally, and, you know, look at what you can do to make the school better. And the school's going through a lot of change. I mean, look at this place. It's a 1-room schoolhouse.
Yeah.
We're talking CRT, we're talking digital. These are things that couldn't even have thought about when people were actually occupying this school. And, you know, we're talking about CRT and the attack on the country. You know, there was a time when, and I'll talk more about this when I'm asked about CRT, but there was a time when we were taught to be patriotic.
Correct.
And we're not anymore. Or at least there's an initiative not to. But, you know, COVID did a lot of things bad, but one silver lining to the cloud is it woke us up.
Yeah.
And we took time out, we took a series of months during quarantine, and it felt like, I mean, I do know families got closer during that time period, for good and for bad. But, you know, you got a chance to look at what your kid was doing, and you said, okay, this is what's being taught. This isn't what I remember from school. What's happened? And now we're living with this and trying to make changes. And just like Superintendent Hill said, it's a process. We're awake. We don't need to be overly aggressive. No one wants to go to just blanket book burning. But there are some obvious things that's embedded in the school system that the academics are trying to push on our kids. And we need to be aware of it. And when you see it, in some cases I've seen the examples, it's blatantly obvious. We deal with it when we approach it. And there's the passive and then there's the active. And I think with the active, you need to be, you know, that can be addressed in a moment, and it requires teachers to be vigilant, but it also requires parents. You know, look at have conversations with your kids. You know, what are you learning? Tell me a little bit about it. 15-minute conversation over what they're reading. It is not, you know, terribly difficult. And then if you hear something that's alarming, look further into it, and then go through the chain of command and address it. And then it's, you know, our responsibilities as, you know, from a school standpoint, and I'm a candidate, so it's not me, but the school board's responsibility to provide some guidance about where we want to take our curriculum. We have been given back autonomy. There is a trend moving back saying that, hey, schools can be managed on the local level. And for the longest time, school board members were like the lowest of the low of the political rung. But now, I did an interview 2 weeks ago. This guy asked me, he said, what's your thoughts about the nationwide political race with regard to Board of Education candidates? And I said, you know, it's actually probably the most important thing we're electing now. As Reagan said that Democrats, or democracy, is one generation away. This is the generation that they're trying to throw it off. So we have to be vigilant, we have to be responsive, and we have to be, you know, aware of what our kids are learning and engaged. And as far as the, you know, and to me it runs hand in hand with the gender identity, gender fluidity. You know, one thing that I think school board might could help on is there is a push toward classical education. There's actually a book coming out in June that promotes classical education and the 3 levels of education, the type of education that was taught in this building. How to spell, how to add, then how to debate, how to look at each individual, you know, different sides of an argument,
Yes.
and then come together and form your own opinion. And not have somebody say, that's what the other side wants to do. They want to take away individuality. And they want to look at, hey, we make a group decision. It's not valid. It's not going to be valid. I guarantee you in China, gender fluidity and CRT is not part of the curriculum. They're teaching math and science. They're building missiles and they're going to Mars before we do. While we're still trying to debate which bathroom to use.
Yes.
So, that's my opinion. That's what I bring in with regard to, you know, direction with the Board of Education. If I'm one of the 5, I've studied up on CRT, gender fluidity. Let's teach the kids how to spell fluidity before we push it. And then if we got a question about East Lost, I'd be happy to answer that too.
Okay, 100% agree. I just want to reiterate, everybody in this room, I appreciate y'all being here because it's important. We all used to sit around the dinner table and talk to our parents, and they'd ask us what's going on in school. And we need to do that. We need to be vigilant. And
We got a taste of that in quarantine. Let's
Yes.
not leave it.
yes, does anybody have any questions for Jason?
Yes. Not only reading, writing, and math, we need to have our children learn how to write.
Yes, ma'am.
They do not even know how to read cursive. You have to read things for them. And also civics. We were taught civics. Exactly. And we don't seem to have that in our schools nowadays.
We do have civics, in our curriculum at the high school, and we have economics, and luckily our state school superintendent has mandated personal finance as part of that curriculum, so there's some good things going on. They want to kind of invite everybody on next Friday, May 6th, our high school is being recognized as a military flagship school. So we really do try to teach patriotism. I know we have some veterans in the room. I hope you join us on our Veterans Day ceremony. It's really special. Probably the best thing we do for our community. So we're really fighting that battle as hard as we can.
And I think we're all friends in here. We all pretty much agree on a majority of this, if not all of it. But the fact of the matter is, we had 140 kids come into our system last year. We got over 3,000 kids, and there's more coming. And it's kind of the Texas syndrome. They hate where they're at, and they come in, and they bring some of that stuff with them. So we need to be vigilant that, hey, the things that you love about this school, patriotism, the things that you love with regard to an adherence to trying to remain conservative in our curriculum and not push LGBTQ, XYZ. You know, that these are things that we, and you know, hey, everything's age appropriate, but we've gotten off the track nationally where kindergarten, first, second, third graders don't need to be taught that they're racist, and they don't need to be taught that, hey, there is no such thing as gender. Because there is. And by the way, you do live in the best country on earth, and I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that.
Absolutely. Are there any other questions, Jason?
No e-splats?
Come on up.
I'm one of those people that I have to write things down. So I make little notes to the side.
Me too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Choestoe, I moved here in 1989. I believe I'm the first one so far that's come up that's not actually born and raised here. My wife and I were high school sweethearts. I know many of the people in this room to the point where we actually graduated from school together, all the way from Warren Mechanics and other folks here in the audience today. The main objectives here is the critical race theory, the grooming, and the gender. And I gotta be upfront and honest with you. When you're in a position like this and going into any type of political anything, you have to learn. And anytime you're gonna go into a board position, specifically school board, there is gonna be a lot to learn. And I'm gonna go ahead and be upfront and tell you real quick, I had no clue what grooming was. I had no idea. So I pull up grooming and pull up it on Google. First thing, of course, that's what everyone does, is go to grooming, what's grooming in Google. And grooming, you automatically think grooming, that's shaving or deodorant, those type of things. And then I go, well, no, it's probably not that. I think grooming is preparing them for the real world, as in understanding how to do the financials, how to do a checking account, how to do your taxes. That's what I thought. Surely that's what it is, because we've been needing that, and Governor Kemp finally just signed, or the state board finally put it through, and it's been being taught right now in our high school for some time, because we have a high school that wants to take care of our communities and our kids, and we knew that was a problem before. It took some person in the state to sign off on it. Correct, Ms. Paul? She said something very, very clear that I wanted to point out. It's called a board policy manual. There is a procedure in there for the type of things that you guys come up with. There's a step 1, 2, and 3. Those forms are literally right here. It's been there. It's been there this whole time. Every single form. There's student complaint forms. There's procedures for it. It's right there. Well, the problem that we're seeing, and the problem that I'm seeing, is people are not doing it that way. They're going to social media, they're going to Facebook, and they're going to their brother, their sister, and their cousin, and they're getting all mad and ticked off about, can you believe this stuff is being done in our school system? Well, bull crap now, come on. I'm going to call it how it is. I'm not elected yet, and whether I'm retired or not, I'm going to be upfront and direct. It's not being done in our school. We have people that care, we have teachers that care. Although these things are seeping in, because that's what they're trying to do. They're attacking us within. That's what's happening to our country. They're attacking us within. Same thing with our school system. So when you go to critical race theory, and you sit there and you think about critical race theory and grooming, let me go back to grooming. Do y'all, how many people in this room actually know what grooming stood for until this meeting today? Or until this political war? Raise your hand all the way up, if you don't mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 5 people. There's what, 30 plus people in here? I'm going to read it to you for the other people that didn't. What is grooming? Grooming is a typically considered to be deliberate action of an adult to befriend a child and establish an emotional connection with her or him, and often, but not always, precedes abuse. The perpetrator uses grooming behaviors to build a child's trust and create opportunities to perpetrate abuse, in most cases, sexual. Look, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, you all live in Union County, and if someone in our school system and our board or a parent in this room found out that something like that was going on, I don't know if you're going to find that guy or girl. I know for a fact we have a staff in a community that's not going to allow that kind of stuff in our in our school system. Critical race theory, same thing. But they're sneaking in. They're doing it little ways. Every time you turn around, they're doing it little ways. So Mr. Hill's over here talking about how we've got all this curriculum and we're having to save as much money as we can because you want to buy as many things as you can for the little amount of money because we're trying to be very cautious with everyone's money because we're getting scrutinized over e-sports. Well, so now we're going to have to go through every little teeny tiny thing because of these agenda-driven folks. I'm not letting it come into our school system. That's why I want to run. I want to run because I want to protect and love and cherish these 3,000 plus young kids. At the same time, support the people that have been in there fighting for us the whole entire time. And so yes, eSplost, 100%. And it really upsets me when I drive down the road and someone's got an eSplost that says no against it next to my sign. But you know what? That's okay. I went on my Facebook pages, I wrote my letters to the newspaper, and that's where I stand, and that's where I'm going to continue to stand. Did I answer all the questions there? I'm a very passionate person, and I like to let other people know where I stand.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. Does anyone have any questions?
Where does that definition of grooming come from?
I had to pull it from 4 different definitions. That was the one that best suited what I understood what grooming was today from the Florida area. I pulled it from Google.
I actually did that today as well and found that same definition.
Yeah, there was 4 definitions that are very similar, but there were 6 in total. And I gotta tell you, it's perverted, it's demonic, someone needs to be shot. That's just me.
That's been talked about for a really long time, but unfortunately, the people that have been trying to talk about it for years get censored and wiped away from the internet. That's why y'all don't know what it is.
And it's sad.
Unfortunately, I know a lot about what it is because I'm glad to educate myself to protect children, but it is a very dark path to go down when you start looking to see where all of the grooming is actually coming from.
Oh, for sure.
Folks, I can sit here and tell you all about my past, my experiences, and all that kind of stuff. I think the majority of the people in this room have already heard that, and I just want to get to the issues today, and that's what I kind of wanted to start off with. If you want to know about my experience and where I come from, I'm happy to discuss that with you afterwards. I'd be more happy to go into all the details that you want. But I want to stick with the issues today.
Appreciate that. Any other questions, Bob? I appreciate you taking the time. Tony, will you come on up and introduce yourself?
By the way, the complaint forms are right there online and have been for years. The problem is no one knows how to use them. And we need to teach them how to use them. Got me? I got you. So, yeah.
Good evening. My name's Tony Nutter, born and raised here. I grew up 3 miles down the road. My extended family used to own the other side of that ridge, just about the entire hollow. I was educated in Union County High School, even though I have a drawl when I speak sometimes, and a twang to my language. They did teach me proper English and how to enunciate. And so if anybody has anything against my actual verbal skills, it's not my teacher's fault. It's the people that I hang around with. We're just hillbillies. I have been on the school board. This will be my 12th year. Never wanted the job in the first place, to be honest with you. I don't like politicians. And it kind of irks me when I think that that's kind of what I am. But really, I'm an employee of everybody in this room, if you own property. So you guys are my boss. And I've tried, to my ability, best of my ability, to do the best I can with the taxpayer money that we've been given from you guys. And I say given because I know it's been taken from you. It's not been willfully given. But I think that we at the Union County School System have done a pretty darn good job because the arithmetic skills that we were taught when I was a child, they're still the same today. Ought and ought is ought. That's where it all started. We've got our budget posted online. It's pretty impressive for seeing the other schools in this state and some of the, I don't know, mishandling of public funds. That kind of irks me. Irk is an old word, I guess. Everybody may not know it. Is anybody that has moved here that was not born here? Can I see your hands, please? Okay. See, most of you guys have no clue who I am, because I'm just an old country boy that grew up down the road. I love my school. I love my community. I love not paying a tremendous amount of taxes. I love these kids, and I want them to grow up to be great adults. Not good, not mediocre, but great. Yes, we do have problems. Everywhere has problems. But with your help, we can fix the problems, or at least try to fix the problems, and turn the Titanic away from the iceberg, so to speak. But most of the time that I'm sitting in a board office or the boardroom, it's very sparse at the people of my community that's even showing up.
That's right.
I want input. I'm not the smartest guy in this room. I know that. I never have been. And the only thing I can bring to the table is the common sense. Because I don't have a hidden agenda. I don't make a heck of a lot of money at this. I do it because I love it. I love this school. I love the community, and anything I can do to better this place, that's what I'm here for. I'm not an eloquent speaker, but I have enjoyed working for this county, and I'll be looking forward to doing it one more term if you guys want to rehire me. So it's all up to you guys.
Fantastic. Is there anybody here that has any questions for Connie? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
I want to give a big round of applause for all the people that came here to a lot of y'all don't know me. I'm a patriot. I was in the military. I was in the 19th Tactical Fighter Squadron. This is the greatest country on earth. I've been in a lot of countries. I'm a businessman. I've been a global technical director for a big German company. Literally, I've been in countries where when I get back to the U.S., I want to kiss the ground because it's the greatest country on earth. And I hope you guys really take the time to evaluate all the candidates that are running, whether it's for school boards, whether it's for the Secretary of State, whether it's our governor. Make the best choice you can, the one you can live with tonight, and let's go out and put up the good fight, and hopefully we'll be able to help turn this country around. I want to thank you all for taking the time to come out tonight. It's really, really important.
May 2nd.
Oh, voting starts May 2nd, in case you don't know, and there's 2 Saturdays. We have voting here on Saturday, and just do your homework. Don't be one of the people that goes out and just pulls the lever and pushes every button Republican for no reason, or the other.
Or the name that sounds good.
Huh?
Or the name
For the
that
name
sounds good.
sounds good. Do a little bit of homework. I know it takes a little time. You know, have the conversations, even if they're difficult, with your family and friends, and that's all I really got to say. Unless anybody's got any other questions for any of these people, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. That's it.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.